Batman, Gotham's vigilante, and the Mandalorian, the galaxy's deadliest bounty hunter. Both are feared in their own worlds, but when they are put head to head, who will come out on top? Hi, it's my job to analyze these two characters' strengths, weaknesses, and abilities to find out who would win a sprite fight. Welcome to Gotham City, home of one of the longest railways in America, well known for owning one of the richest companies ever, and, oh yeah, being well known for being the most crime-ridden city in existence. Almost everywhere you look in alleyways, someone is committing a crime. This is what Thomas Wayne was all caught up in. However, he had a son destined to change it all. His name was Bruce Wayne. One night, Bruce and his family had just finished watching a movie in a theatre, and, very unwisely I must add, they walked down an alleyway known as Crime Alley. However, a criminal came over and threatened them at gunpoint. Thomas tried to reason with the criminal, but it wasn't enough, as the criminal pointed and shot, killing both Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne. Bruce was left to mourn on his loss as the criminal ran away. Bruce was now broken. He couldn't believe his own family had just died in front of him. However, his butler took him under his wing and minorly trained him. Somehow, a few decades later, Bruce was able to get the company back on its feet. One day, however, a bat flew close to his window. In that instance, he knew what he had to be. He had already completely perfected his mind and body, so he put a lot of his smarts into building one suit to become the superhero, the vigilante, Batman. He may not have any powers, but he's thrilling when it comes to fighting. He studied 127 different types of martial arts. In comparison, Bruce Lee, one of the greatest fighters ever, only studied about 15 martial arts. This would make Batman 8.5 times more skilled than one of the most skilled fighters who ever lived. The Batsuit also isn't just for show. With it, he survived gunshots, knife attacks, and even this massive explosion. But he doesn't just rely on his suit to defeat his many enemies. His utility belt contains a bunch of gadgets and equipment, including smoke bombs, a grappling gun which allows him to get up to the height of buildings, multiple batarangs which he can control and even set to explode, or he could just throw them normally. But when he doesn't want to use throwing explosives, he uses his explosive gel, which he can spray onto walls and surfaces to cause a small explosion. By taking the height and size of the wall and the density of concrete, this should take around 1,152 tons of force. That's like being hit with an artillery gun. He's also really strong. He can bench press 1,000 pounds. And also, he can resist the bite force of an orca. That's around 9.5 tons. He's also really quick. He dodged this bullet. So, oh great, here comes another calculation. By taking the speed of an average bullet and the distance it was from Batman when he started moving, he must have been moving half a meter in 0.3 milliseconds. And we're absolutely sure he's not superhuman. He has multiple vehicles such as the Batmobile and the Batwing, which can travel at several hundred miles an hour. And they are equipped with several cool weapons like missiles and even tablets in case he ever gets sick. And also, with all his expertise and gadgets, he helped found the Justice League of America, one of the greatest superhero teams ever. However, even with all his expertise, he is an ordinary human, and underneath the Batsuit, he is easily affected to bullets, knife stabs, and practically everything else a normal human would die from. Not even his fire-resistant cape or bullet-resistant armor, or even his knife-resistant suit can save him from all of these situations. However, do not mess with Batman. Even with a lot of his impressive feats thanks to prep time, he's no stranger to being put on the spot. So, if you see him, just do immediately what he says, because you're right now in the presence of one of the greatest crime fighters to have ever walked on this earth.
You to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
You had to be pretty naive to live in the Star Wars universe and expect it to be all peaceful, as the Empire is looming over every planet. With fleets of Star Destroyers, thousands of droids and stormtroopers, and several TIE fighters at their beck and call, they started invading other planets. However, they happened across one planet, which happened to have an inhabitant who was just a young boy. His name was Din Djarin. Din's village was completely wasted. Luckily, his mother and father was able to store him in a small basement to keep him away from any robots. His parents, I'm guessing, were shot dead. Then a droid came over and nearly killed him, finding him in the bunker, until he was saved by, of all people, the Mandalorians. When Din Djarin met the Mandalorians, he immediately accepted joining into their creed, and learned the ways of their cult, the rules of their law, and the amazing ways of using their many weapons. That night, Din died, and the Mandalorian was born. Through his Mandalorian training, he learned how to use multiple different weapons. His favorite weapon is his B94 blaster, a small blaster which he can carry around everywhere he wants. One of his most powerful weapons is the Ambient Sniper Rifle, a powerful sniper rifle which can completely incinerate humans, which according to Not Death Battle would be around 3 gigajoules of force. In fact, the weapon was so cruel, it was actually banned from being used by any army. So I'm sure some of you have at least burned yourself slightly, but imagine your entire body feeling like it's on fire. And also, it feels like such a slow death, because you now perceive time slower because of how confusing this rifle is. But he doesn't just use his guns to defeat his many enemies. What he uses is his lovely jetpack, which allows him to fly at high speed, seemingly several hundred miles an hour. His sniper rifle has a taser attached to the front, which allows him to electrocute any foe. In fact, it was even able to electrocute part of this large worm, which would take about 1 gigajoule of force. He's got a fiber cord whip, a grapple which can reach long distances, a 5-meter range flamethrower. He's got sticky bombs, which are so powerful they can blow up a TIE fighter. Gee. He's even got a knife if things don't quite go his way. One mission, he happened along a small baby Yoda. The original mission was to terminate it with a robot to split the cash, but Mando decided to spare it, as he thought the baby was worth keeping around. So he quickly saved the baby Yoda, and then decided to take him in. Once he gave in the baby Yoda, he then was rewarded with a bunch of Beskar material. Beskar material is a highly durable material, which can survive gunshots and laser blasters. When he brought it back to his clan, they forged it into an armor called Whistling Birds, a special type of armor with a special feature. See, the Whistling Birds are like these tiny little missiles which he can fire everywhere to take out multiple targets, even these fallen stormtroopers. Man, it's been so many years and the stormtroopers are still incompetent. His Beskar armor can deflect knife attacks. He could possibly even scale to Fennec Shan in speed, who dodged this laser rifle. And according to the internet, which is never wrong ever, blaster fire from rifles can travel around 135 miles an hour. But one of his other most powerful weapons is the Darksaber, aka the coolest looking lightsaber ever. Combining that with my favorite Star Wars character, this is just a love letter to me. Anyway, it's so dangerous you can cut through tables and even people. Ugh. Oh, and another thing, Mando's Beskar armor can actually tank any sort of lightsaber or darksaber, or you get the point. Now on to weaknesses. He's pretty naive and sometimes doesn't know when to quit. And his arm has plenty of exposed spaces, which an intelligent enough fighter can find out how to exploit. And the Darksaber, well, according to him at least, gets heavier with every single swing he takes. However, even with all his flaws, Mando certainly is one dangerous fighter. If you see him and you learn that actually you're his next bounty, put your hands up, come with him, and do it quietly.
Mando, you can't leave me like this! Cut me down!
That wasn't part of the deal.
Wait, what are you doing? Mando! I can stay! Mando! Mando!
Alright, the two combatants have been analysed. It's time for a sprite fight. Things just had to go wrong. Alfred, I'm gonna have to be late for dinner again. Anything new to tell me, sir? Very funny. So, who are you, and why did you come to Gotham City? I can bring you in warm, or I could bring you in cold. Cold, then. Where did you... Not this time. Looks like you have a grappling line too. Wait a minute. You're not the only one with explosives. Wait, what? Explosive gel. Goodbye. No! Alfred. Dear God, sir. The vitals on your suit have just gone down by 50%. Are you okay? Fine. Just call in the Batmobile. It'll be right there, sir. Just give me a minute.
K.O.
You know, we're gonna have a lot of people exploding in this show. We should probably have a share with the TNT company. The Mandalorian's versatility certainly kept Batman on his toes, and actually, if he ran this battle over 100 times, he could score a few victories with the Darksaber and ambient sniper rifle, because if he could get the ambient sniper rifle to hit him in Batman's exposed mouthpiece, he could easily have killed him, along with the Darksaber cutting him in half. But Batman's physical capabilities and his weaponry and tools and gadgets just were too much for the Mandalorian to handle, not to mention the speed difference. Even through scaling Mando to Fennec Shan, judging by the distance that the shot was when she started moving, she could only be moving about 1/100th of a second. A lot less than Batman's speed, around 550 times, if you're curious. Batman was stronger too. He could resist the bite force of an orca, which is around 9.5 tons. Well, even if we say that Mando was able to push through the force barely, which he did in one of the episodes, that would only put him around 2,200 pounds because he can scale to Baby Yoda, who lifted up a giant rhino. Remember, Mando almost died from the small explosion, which, even comparing to real-life explosions, would only equate to, at highballing most, 1 ton of TNT. However, do you remember that giant explosion Batman survived? According to Death Battle, he must have withstood a force of around 58 tons of TNT. Way above the Mando's durability, and a lot more than the ambient sniper rifle could output. And while Mando was incredibly skilled and has been training all his life, Batman studied 127 different martial arts, definitely getting the edge over Mando's skill. And while the Darksaber could potentially kill Batman, Batman's superior speed and the fact how he's been fighting with swordsmen with centuries of experience, I'm talking about Ra's al Ghul, he definitely could overcome this eventually. Also, Mando, remember, the sword gets heavier every time he swings it. So there wasn't very many scenarios where Mando could actually kill Batman with the Darksaber. While Mando's ambient sniper rifle could possibly have killed Batman if it shot him in his mouthpiece, this is very unlikely as Batman's a lot quicker. So, in conclusion, every single thing that Mando could actually kill Batman with, Batman could reliably counter with his speed, skill, and far greater durability. Batman's many different gadgets sadly gave him also a bit of versatility. While Mando's weapons were more deadly, Batman could probably counter them with his versatile gadgets. So, in conclusion, while Mando's incredible weapons certainly kept him in the fight, Batman's superior strength, speed, durability, skill, and counters were just too much for the poor Mandalorian to handle. Looks like Batman was the real bounty hunter here, even though he doesn't kill. And also, I guess you could say, this battle came to a completely jarring conclusion. The winner is Batman.